Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I've got a really awesome book from the artist Nir Levie. Nir produced this entirely himself and then released it through Zoop. I previously reviewed Nir's book Bioripple, which came out through Heavy Metal. I was a little sad to see that Nir had to release this himself through Zoop because Zoop doesn't always offer the best printing. And Nir's got beautiful, like insanely dense line art. So that is kind of an unfortunate thing that some of the printing's not the best it could be. But other than that, this is a really, really cool book. Nir signed it on the inside here for me. I gave him a quote for the Kickstarter campaign. And yeah, just really grateful to have a copy of this book. It's beautiful, and I think also important. It says right here, and this is what I think is so interesting about the book, is it's based on ancient unfinished poems unearthed in Ugarit dating back to the 15th century BC. So some very, very old additions to our world mythology. And reading through it, it's talking about El and Baal and a lot of names that I'm familiar with from having been raised in a Christian household and looking at the Torah and the Old Testament, but being presented in a very different light. And I think that's really important. Something important to have these things as on the record and as known as other world mythologies. I feel like the late discovery in these days kind of just gets written off. And so I'm really grateful that Nir put it in this awesome visual package. And as you'll see as we flip through, Nir's just a stunning artist, really top flight. Right here, you can see the Epic of Akkad. This is the first of 6 or 7 stories that are collected here. And you can see how badass Nir is. This is big eagle face. And then taking the time to figure out what this reflection would look like from the 2 different vantage points, I just think is really badass. A lot of artists would just stat that. And Nir's a badass with perspective. You can see that here as well. One of the cool things about Nir's art is I don't know if there's ever any actual just static linear perspective anywhere. It's always curvilinear perspective. Everything's always on a fisheye lens. That was the same in Bioripple, and it's a really intense look. I really dig it. So this is Baal and his son Akkad, and oh no, this is Daniel and Akkad. This is Baal popping up through the floor, and then this is the wife and the daughter of the Daniel guy. So this is the hero character Akkad being born, and I really, really like this image of Baal manifesting in the room, and you can see him as like this extra dimensional character that's kind of manifesting being cut off the room. Really, really enjoyed that, and one of the many things, beautiful things going on in the book art-wise. Another main character throughout is this female character named Anat. You can see her coming in with like this jumpsuit thing that allows her to fly, which is really cool, and then landing on the water. There's a lot of, I would say, Tradmore influence in this. I don't know if that's an influence or if Nir Levie's pulling from some of the same references that Tradmore uses, but there's a lot of really cool like distortions that you would see more in manga, and that's being applied with a little bit more Western European sensibility to it. But like the landing on this water and stuff, just really, really beautiful designs. Totally trippy, like motion, dynamic filled pages like this as well. A totally brilliant image here, taking advantage of that really warped fisheye perspective where you have the reflection of someone in the pool down at the bottom and it's turned backwards. And then you have the character here growing up and making like a tree structure with everyone around her in the market, creating the top of the tree. I really, really love that image of like the self as the root and the society is like this tree that's growing up out of there that this hero was delving with. That's really nice. Throughout the book, there's also a bunch of like pinups by guest artists. This one, really nice one by Brent McKee. The second story in here is the Epic of Akkad. You notice one of his features here is he has this really beautiful like custom bow And just showing off some of the cool art here, like this totally trippy image. And looking again at like some of the images, that curved perspective really allows the gods to like loom over like the little figure here. And the way that the foot and knee is coming up out of the room like the room is water is really, really cool visual. This is the tales of Anat and Baal, and you can see in this one, Nir Levie is no chump when it comes to drawing action scenes. He's willing to go in and draw every turban and every spear. So this story here is pretty much about Baal and Anat, and they're fighting against El. There's a lot of stuff going on in here I'm not familiar with because I'm not familiar with this mythological structure. But Anat, this one here, is the mother of Ishera, and Baal is the soul king. That's what he's called in this. And by soul, I mean as in only. So that, and they also talk about someone riding a donkey in here. So it's interesting to see this 15th century BC story that has someone riding a donkey. It's got Baal, which in the Bible is always referred to as like smash the images of Baal, claiming to be the soul king, and is in a battle with El, who would be in the Bible. Usually El is where you'd see the name God. So it's interesting to see that there was some kind of rivalry here that's probably just not very well kept in the records, and I'd like to know more about that. You also get some more insight onto Nir's amazing artwork here. Unfortunately, because this is like, you know, a trade paperback, the way it's bound, you can't see the full spread there. A lot of Nir's artwork operates on the spread, but really crazy cool building. A really fun character with a very particular visual is this character Matt, who kills Baal, kind of like a devil character. This is obviously very much based on seeing the red line art on the black pottery in the Greek art making tradition, and I really like that. I really like bringing that aesthetic into the book. And there's a little part here where this character is talking about festivities and ceremonies, and I like the idea of the way he's talking about it. Festivities serve to deepen your connections with others. They are accompanied by narratives crafted to justify the revelry, to inspire people to commemorate it annually, to etch it in memory. Obviously, that's something that we talk about a lot on the channel, and me and Tori talk about a lot in our private life, is the human need for narrative. And I've struggled with that as a need, and then, you know, kind of found my way into enjoying it as a need. And I think that's very much what it is. Like, you got to tell stories that get through to people and make them feel something. This story is called The Gracious Gods. We got a super cool womb image there. There's a story called The Legend of Karet. One of the things I really like about the way Nir's style is developing is he's got these very calligraphic lines that will, like here on the cover, where they just swoop and loop around. It's almost like the image is made out of one long, it's not made out of one long swoopy line, but they're a lot of lines that go for a long distance and swoop and loop together. I think it's a really beautiful calligraphic looking development in his style. It's another super cool image here. This is something that I think Nir does well, which is like keeping the same perspective over and over, or flopping you like to the other side of the table, but having things morph, like here where they all just pour their souls up into this thing and then they manifest this character. You can also see more of this like looping line that I'm talking about here, where it's one continuous line going around that loops. Just really beautiful stuff. Pinup by Artoyam Trakanov. I'm always excited anytime I see more of Artoyam's work. I wish that he could do more narrative work, because this is an artist I would love to own more stuff by. It's The Legend of Karet. Another look at those big loopy lines. Another look at a fun battle scene here. Each one of these little warriors is all drawn in, and then you have that warped perspective on top of it, makes them super, super dynamic and badass, and really gives you like you have a drone above the field looking at the whole thing in 3D. Some more good trippy imagery here. like with Tradmore, someone Nir Levie is someone who's really good at showing warped grids. Always boggles my mind when artists are really good at that. Then seeing some of Nir Levie's preparatory work for the series is really, really cool. Seeing Nir work with physical mediums for color is really, really fun. That's a development I would like to see, a whole book that has physical medium like that. Then you get to see some of the work in black and white here, which is really, really nice. You get another look at that line work that I'm talking about. And with an artist like Nir, who has like such a bombastic, I would say, layout style, it's really nice to see some of these preparatory sketches, seeing how he's using this curved grid underneath things to kind of structure the pages and help with the panel layouts. That's such a big part of his art, obviously, that it's nice to see some of how he's achieving that as like a digital, it looks like just digital print that's getting put in so he can freestyle over it. And then you can see some of those pages develop even further here with the digital penciling. And then Nir is crazy and does this all with physical tools. So all of those tiny little details aren't a crazy person with a zoom button scrolling. That's someone with a brush or a pen going crazy. So it's really beautiful to see that. You get to see the colors separated out on some flats, which is really fun. Then you have some bigger images here where you can go through and really enjoy all of that OCD mark making that Nir has put in, and all of the really beautiful, crazy foreshortening and everything. And then back here, I just had to show this because I thought this was a truly astonishing image with all of the weirdness here of this character abstracting against the grid back here and these swirly lines. I think Nir is just one of the great visionaries of our time. This is an amazing book. I really enjoyed it in terms of the theme, the topic, like the stories that it's sharing with us, and then, of course, the visual presentation of that material. I think it's unfortunate that someone of Nir's talent level is having to crowdfund for this and go through someone like Zoop. I've not been the biggest fan of the products I've seen from Zoop. I've seen a lot of great artists going to them, but I haven't been happy with the products. But Nir's one of these true visionaries, and I hope that Nir continues to sell enough books and get hired and get enough work that he'll continue, because I feel like this is a voice that can continue to grow and evolve and contribute something really special and something really new to comics.